Sastastic Life with hosts Trisha Rivas and Wendy Fredrigo.
Hello.
Welcome. We are so excited to have Amanda with us today.
So excited.
We've got so many questions.
Oh my gosh, we could be here all day.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah, we really could.
We could.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So many.
So let's start at the beginning.
Yeah.
So tell us, you graduate from high school.
Mhm.
What do you do?
Yeah. I actually had no idea what I wanted to do when I graduated from high school. So I had a lot of cancer in my family, both sides. And so going into college, I was like, what do I want to do? And literally just kind of overnight, I was like, you know what? Let me just look into like a nursing program. And so that's kind of where the ball started and started to roll. And I never looked back. And so the moment in one of my clinicals, I was up at Mary Greeley doing labor and delivery, saw a baby be born. I was like, and that's exactly what I want to do. And so that's where my nursing career started.
What program did you go through? What nursing?
Grandview.
You did.
Yeah.
Amazing
Local.
program.
Yes.
Amazing
so good.
program. I think a lot of times people forget that they have a nursing program.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's kind of hidden.
It is.
Yeah.
Because you think a lot Mercy or DMAC.
Yep.
But yes, Grandview is amazing.
Oh yeah. It was yes.
Mhm.
And that was before they were, before they were even a university too.
Yes.
So they were still college back in the day.
I love it.
So how long did you do that? Labor and delivery.
For almost 12 years, almost 12 years.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I loved it. It was a huge passion, still would be a huge passion of mine. If I could just go in, help deliver a baby and leave, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Yeah. You do all the hard work.
Yes, exactly.
Literally, the nurses do all the hard work.
100%.
Yes. Less doctors' hearts also, but literally they're just there to catch.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I agree.
Yep. You get called in and it's like,
Yes.
okay.
Uh-huh.
Yep. And that head better be about to come out for them to come in, glove up, and then leave.
That is
right
so
away.
true. So true.
Yeah. Yep. God bless them though.
So none of that blood, any of that stuff ever bothered you?
Nope. Nothing yet. Nothing that I have found.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You've never got like woozy or faint?
No, which is
Wow.
crazy, really, when you think about it, especially in the labor and delivery world with all of that stuff. And whether it's, you're in the OR room or it's a vaginal birth, I mean, neither route I found anything with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, back in the day, did you have to do rotations also on different floors, or did you
No.
immediately just go into labor and delivery?
Yeah, luckily, no.
Okay.
So I did about a year up at Almouth Life, and worked there for brain rehabilitation. But not the only reason, I was a CNA there first, and so I stayed there for a little bit into nursing because at that point there was actually no room to get into labor and delivery, which is quite the opposite now.
Oh,
So
gosh.
you had to wait for a spot to be open.
Yeah.
And so it was about a year or so until a spot opened, and then went right into labor and delivery. But then I also did postpartum care too. So I kind of did both, that perinatal type of approach.
Yeah.
So
And what a difference. What an amazing organization on with life,
yeah,
but two different
very
aspects
different.
of
Right.
your career.
Yes, very different. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah. Both great, but
Yes. I
very
love
different.
that.
Yeah.
So I just thought of a really clever thing to say. You go
Oh,
from
God.
labor and delivery too. Tell us how Vivid was born.
Yeah, I love it. There you go. Yep, coin that phrase. Well, kind of back to two different kind of instances there. So back to having cancer in both sides of the family.
Yeah.
I always knew that I wanted to be able to do more and to be able to give back more. And while I loved labor and delivery, it was the period during the pandemic where it was hard. You would be, generally speaking, you would have one labor and delivery or one delivery, in your shift. During the pandemic, you might have 2 to 3. You might have 2 to 3 patients at the same time. And so it was very hard. I mean, it's still very stressful in the hospital setting, just a lot put on you. And at that point, I had a friend who actually went to Vegas and came back, and she was like, "You'll never get this. I ordered an IV to my room, not even room service." I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, that sounds sounds like the craziest thing ever.
Yeah.
So then, of course, I started to go down the rabbit hole and
Oh, yeah.
dig and stuff, and really opened up my eyes into what IV vitamin therapy could do, and so many different routes, whether it's on a preventative side, an active illness side, and obviously during that time, it was during the pandemic,
Yeah.
and then leading into ozone therapy for so much other support, which is a whole other topic. And so I really realized that in that moment, like, I can help a couple people maybe a day when I'm in the hospital, or I can help potentially thousands of people. And so at that point, then I started the mobile side of
Yes.
Vivid. And so we still do that now. So going into people's homes, super great if you're not feeling good, or
So
if you
great.
just had a baby, or we work with cancer patients too, so they don't want to come in, and so we have that capability. But then also on the flip side too, going into businesses, so like wellness days and giving IVs to corporate individuals. So we started there, which was great, and then quickly built from there. And the more I dove into additional like holistic natural medicine, ozone therapy, I knew that I needed a space. Like I needed a bigger space for that. And so that's where I opened up the Wellness Lounge in Clive, where now we do a lot of other things such as that. But that's kind of where it started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
IV therapy was literally a godsend when I had COVID.
Oh, yes.
I was very, very, very ill.
Mm-hmm.
And there were only a certain amount of people, though, that were doing IV
Yeah,
therapy for
very
people
few
that
at
had
that point.
COVID.
Yeah.
So I was so thankful. And it was actually my chiropractor
Oh,
that had told me
yes.
about the services.
Yeah.
That had told me about the services
Yeah.
and the alternative
Yep.
services that could help.
Yeah.
It seriously was a godsend.
Oh, yeah.
It was a godsend.
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes it's almost night and day.
Oh
Like
my
how
gosh,
you're
yeah.
feeling, and then the next day you're
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's crazy. I am someone who hates needles.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I would almost pass out, to purposely like being excited to go in and have an IV.
Right.
I mean, I never would have guessed that I would on purpose go get an IV.
Yeah.
But the vitamin D's been a huge
Vitamin D was a game changer
Yes.
for you.
Yes. Yep.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think what a lot of people, what they don't understand too, when it comes to IV vitamin therapy, a lot of people still think that the needle stays in the arm once it's started. And it's really just that catheter. So it's just like that quick initial, like, okay. And even me, like I can start my own IVs, but if somebody starts, we're going to pass out here.
You're going to lose me.
What? I mean, that's like me cutting my own bangs, Amanda.
It's so true. So true. Like you can do it on yourself, but do you want to? No. And so, but that's the same, like it's just that initial, even when other people like do IVs for me, I'm just like, okay, look away. It's just gonna be 1 second. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah. And then it's night and day. Because I do IVs about every like 2 to 3 weeks just to kind of stay on it, really keep that immune system boosted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knock on wood. I haven't been sick in a long time.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
So tell me, share with our listeners, aside from, like the Myers cocktail, which is for what are other things that you offer for IV besides immune?
Absolutely. Yeah. And Myers is kind of, I like to say it's everything but the kitchen sink. So it's going to be kind of like your general overall, health and wellness one. We have one that's called Burner. I actually designed that one. And so that one's specific for kind of turning fat into energy.
Okay.
That one pairs really well kind of with GLPs that are really hot right now as well. Gives you a good boost of energy. Obviously the immune side, the immunity. We have one that's really good for athletes as well. You get more of kind of that amino acid boost within inside of that. Same with your magnesium, which is great for everybody kind of for that, that recovery. And then I would say another top one of ours is gut health. So it has a couple different properties within it that really help with like kidney and liver detox, but then really just help kind of settle that stomach and that gut health, which a lot of us have a lot of gut health to work on too. And so it's good to kind of support that and help. Yeah.
Well, and a healthy gut, I mean, it really does dictate the rest of how healthy your body is.
Yes.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, just from research that I've been doing and reading, and I mean, it's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They call it your second brain.
Yeah, it really is. Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Same with when you're looking at like serotonin too. There's really more serotonin in your gut than in your brain. So it's really that 2-in-1.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about serotonin again. Let's menopause. What are some things that, and I know that you have someone that they're going to be specializing in this.
Yep.
But what are some things that could help us menopausal women?
Sure. Oh my gosh. Again, we could be here all day for that. Well, kind of back to like gut health too. And like when we're looking at detox, a lot of times, I mean, this is a whole other thing on like functional medicine and stuff too. We just get bombarded every single day with so many things that so do our hormone receptors. And so sometimes a lot of times we do need a good detox to kind of get those toxins off of those hormone receptors for them to kind of open up a little bit better too. So then when you are looking at potentially like hormone replacement therapy, whether you're doing injectables or creams or anything like that, your receptors ideally you're utilizing less of it at that point, but then your receptors are more turned on to that too. So detox is always great for that. I mean, when we're talking about serotonin, that's a whole other thing too. That immediately leads me then to like a cold plunge because your serotonin just goes straight up. And that's starting to become more popular too, kind of that hot and cold like therapy aspect. So that helps on a hormone side. The GLPs help on a hormone side. There's just so many things that are out there that I think also, like, if we look back probably even a decade and before, there's been such a bad rap, unfortunately, that got put on hormone replacement therapy and just hormones in general and that. And it's very much needed. It's a great option for perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, even just that slightest, just little bit, whether we're talking about estradiol or estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA is another great one too. So lots of options.
I did have to laugh when I was walking through Target yesterday and they had a cold plunge blow-up thing on sale.
I would have loved to.
I'm not going to lie. I did think,
right?
Yeah, when you have a hot flash, it's like, bring it.
It's like, I got to leave this stuff to the professionals. I got to leave this stuff up to the professionals.
Of how that would play out.
You get in and Jeremy starts putting ice cubes in it.
I know, exactly. But you guys do have a cold plunge at your facility.
Yeah. And we paired, of course, very nicely with the sauna. Yeah. So because you're a little chilly.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can feel that adrenaline and that serotonin just really boost. I sleep amazing too after I utilize it.
Do you guys do any LED therapy?
Light therapy?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So right now we have like red light pads, which is great for like that inflammation and more specific of where we put it. It's even great just to put on your abdomen too when we're talking about gut health again.
Yeah.
So more localized therapy right now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little more about GLPs because there's a lot of different terms and things. So tell us, what is GLP?
Yeah. So a lot of times, a lot of people who are probably listening have heard of Ozempic. They've heard of Mounjaro. There's so many different ones that are out there. And so more specifically, if somebody's not going through their physician, if they're not able to get it through their like insurance, then they're probably utilizing like semaglutide or tirzepatide. So those are more so turning on that hormone receptor. So there's a specific hormone pathway within our systems that it can be bogged down, just like hormone receptors and stuff too. I like to kind of talk about it like a light in the room. As that light starts to dim and then kind of flickers, think of it as that hormone pathway. And some of us just need that hormone pathway turned back on and that light kind of turned back on.
So is GLP a hormone?
It's actually a coenzyme, so it's a peptide.
A peptide, okay.
Yep, but works on that hormone pathway.
Got it.
So, so a lot of people, I mean, obviously it's a huge hot topic right now. And I think that a lot of people just think about it in terms of like weight loss. Yeah. But now, we're sitting here kind of talking about hormones and stuff. Mm-hmm. And we, like from a functional medicine perspective too, we utilize it a ton, even outside of weight loss. Okay. Like maybe whether it's on a hormone side or a thyroid side or something, like maybe somebody is down to like, gosh dang it, I've been plateaued. I'm eating healthy. I'm doing all of the right things. I'm working out. I just can't get over the hump. Mm-hmm. It's amazing for all of those individuals. But it's also, we're really seeing inflammation significantly decrease.
It does wonders for my high blood pressure.
Yes. Yeah. It's cardiovascular protective too. We see cholesterol levels coming down. It's neuroprotective. They're starting to look at that in terms of Alzheimer's, dementia. It actually helps shift your gut microbiome, ideally within about a 30-day time frame. And so when you're looking at IBS or Crohn's and just different things, I mean, inflammation in your immune system is like the root cause to anything and everything else. And so if you can focus on keeping that inflammation at least at bay, I mean, that's going to help with so many different autoimmune issues. You're looking at diabetes. I mean, so many different things. So we use it for so many more capacities than just weight loss, which is why nobody should feel ashamed that they're on it, and that it shouldn't go that route too, where somebody should feel as though like, well, I got to hurry up and hide it from somebody or not talk about it, because it's so much more.
It's a tool.
It's such a tool. Yeah.
What I love though is you guys do have a dietitian.
Yes.
I mean, so it's not just coming in and you guys doing the shot.
Nope.
I mean, it is a whole service.
Yes.
On living a healthy lifestyle.
100%. Yep.
And I appreciate that.
And we really focus on that too.
Yes.
We have a lot of tools within that. So we very much emphasize a high protein diet alongside of it. Mediterranean is great too. But people get tools and resources just on a QR code that they can scan for high protein snacks and meal plans. You can meet with Kaylin, who's our functional nutritionist. So on that side too. But what's also great is because we do so many things in-house, like if somebody is having any potential side effects, which I'll kind of get into that too. Like we have different high quality supplements to help on a constipation side. We have functional medicine in-house. So if we need to draw some labs and look at your thyroid or just different things, we can kind of do it all right there. But then back to side effects too, we hardly see any side effects because we also very much emphasize us staying very much individualized. So it's not just a one size fits all. It should very much be like us kind of, I like to say microdosing, keeping it as low as of a dose as we can, because we hardly then see any side effects. But most people, you don't really have to get up to a high dose. You can be at a low dose and you see tremendous, tremendous results.
So where do you think a lot of the negative press has come from? Is it not getting used correctly?
I think that's a big part of it. So a big difference between, let's say like Ozempic, you get the Ozempic pen versus like on a semaglutide. Generally speaking, we show you how to pull up that medication. So you're doing that injection versus just a pen that's automatically dialed into how much that they have put in there. And so we see and hear about a lot of side effects because that dosing is so much higher, where people just don't need that. But then back to kind of nutrition and all of that, it's just, there's so many tools that need to be in the toolbox and not just, here you go. It's definitely not a quick fix, because the last thing you want is to, if you were to come off of it, which I tell people all the time, it's such a great tool with cardiovascular support, neuro support, that even if you can be at such a small dose and every couple of weeks, it's such a great tool. But then a lot of times you're just not being provided that dietary and nutrition support and that guidance. But it's only because it's just because people don't know. They just have no idea. They just know what they know, and they're given, a pen for Ozempic. And then unfortunately you're just dialed up per what that dosage is stated at. You can't titrate it like individualized.
Yeah. So, well, and I think also there's a difference there. Insurance is covering a lot of the Ozempic.
Yeah.
And again, as we talked, time is of the essence, and we do have a shortage of, nurses and doctors, which means a shortage of education. As we were talking earlier with Big Pharma. Whereas what's different with you guys is it's very customized.
Yes, very much.
Very, very customized. And it's a journey that you are walking through with your patients.
Absolutely.
And that makes a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
Makes a huge difference.
Yes. Everybody's just so different, whether you're looking at like semaglutide and the GLPs or you're looking at anything in life, hormones, anything. Everybody is so individualized. There's just not a protocol that you can just follow for every person.
So what would you say to someone that's scared of trying it, or
like
what advice would you give?
Yeah. So I guess it depends on where those fears kind of come into play too. Are they nervous about doing an injection? Because, like if it's that needle or the syringe, I will tell you again, kind of back to that individualized custom care, they come in and they're with us for 15 to 20 minutes of sitting down, explaining everything and doing that first dose with them so they feel comfortable and confident when they go home.
Yeah.
And 10 out of 10 people are like, even if they're nervous, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even feel it. Like that was nothing. And so that helps too, to know that you have somebody right there who's going to walk you through it and hold your hand that whole time too. I would say that's probably the biggest fear. Or they've gone down the Twitter route or some other route and they've seen like these horrible side effects. But again,
stay off the internet.
Yeah, exactly. Don't look there.
So that's probably people taking too high of a dose.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And you'll have very rarely, you'll have somebody who might have a little nausea. And generally speaking, it's not like, oh my gosh, I have the flu. It's like, oh, well, this sucks. Like I can still make it through my day. But again, that's where we very much emphasize for them too. Like you call us at any time because we have a lot of other tools in our tool belt. That's going to help with anything that you might experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us how then, if you forgive me if you already said so.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways that it benefits menopause?
Yeah. So inflammation. So we're seeing that kind of come down to, we're starting to see, if we were to trend different labs, we're starting to see some of those labs starting to come down and trend out too. It's good for liver support, which liver is going and thyroid, all of that just all plays in and intertwines too with hormones. So I would say all of that kind of combined, we've had people where they're like, I just feel better. I have more energy. And sometimes when you're going into perimenopause, menopause, anything like that, you're just like, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, or I'm not sleeping well. And so each person again is so different. We've had some where they're like, it totally helped my hot flashes. We've had some who are like, I sleep better. I move better. But you can see that shift in some people's hormones on like a lab side too.
Yeah.
It did help my hot flashes.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Tremendously. Yeah. And again, like I said, my blood pressure.
Yes. Yep. It's just, it's so cool how everything is so interconnected that really when you just get to the root of some things, it's just kind of like that domino effect to help other things too.
Yeah. I've really been struggling with inflammation.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, it's so hard to get away from it. I mean, even if you're eating healthy, like we're just bombarded with EMF, with toxins, with, so many things you just can't get away from it. So there's tools in the tool belt, to help with that too.
And talk a little bit about vitamin D. So I think, people will say, oh, in Iowa, everybody has low vitamin D because of the weather, blah, blah, blah. But can you explain like the importance of vitamin D?
Sure.
Like, I guess I never really fully understood what a difference it could make.
Yeah. And I would even venture to say, even if we were to head to Florida and draw labs there, most people are probably vitamin D deficient. And then you have to look at, are we looking at standard values or are we looking at optimal values? And so ideally people want kind of that 60 to 80 range. So if anybody's had their labs drawn for vitamin D, you want between kind of that 60 to 80. And vitamin D plays such a huge role. So a lot of times we would think of it in terms of like our immune support and our immune system, which it's great for. It's huge for bone health. So when you're looking at osteoporosis, osteopenia, you really want to make sure that your vitamin D levels are nice and elevated and up there because it's going to shift and help that too. On a hormone side, it's huge. And very much so, like, even if we're not talking about like going outside, even as we're shifting into different periods in our lives, our body is just kind of pulling that. Our hormones are just pulling different things. Same with on a cholesterol side, our hormones need cholesterol in order to function appropriately, and similar to vitamin D too.
And do you guys do labs before you do any type of vitamin D injections or anything like that?
Both. So we'll do like one vitamin D injection per month, but we also have vitamin D protocols. So if we can, if somebody's either coming to us with lab results or if we're drawing them in-house, we have specific protocols based off of usually oral and then injectables too. And then usually we'll repeat those labs about 3 weeks after, if like a completed series.
Can you overdose on vitamin D?
No.
Okay. No. See, again, you know, the different things that you hear.
Yeah, there are a lot of vitamins that they say once your body can't take anymore, you just pee it out.
Yeah. And really, like if somebody's vitamin D level was well over 100 or something, we would look at that. Then that's more of a functional medicine side. And or on the flip side, like, okay, we've done these protocols and your body's still not absorbing vitamin D. Why?
Yeah.
And so, you know, kind of looking at the flip side of all of that too. But it's going to be very hard to overdose on vitamin D.
I wonder if that's why, because I've had a lot of gut issues. Oral vitamin D I was taking if my body wasn't absorbing it.
Yeah.
So getting the
absolutely.
shot was a different way of receiving the vitamin D.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And it's so hard to, depending on the brand, and if are you doing capsules, are you doing liquid, are you, you know, where are you absorbing it? But then same when you're looking at gut health as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Tell me about NAD.
Yeah. Okay, it's a long, fancy word. Nicotinamide adenosine dinucleotide is the actual name for it. So our body naturally produces it. It's an enzyme. And so think of, if you've going clear back to like chemistry, science class, our mitochondria. So our mitochondria is our energy powerhouse. It's our cellular powerhouse. And you want that to be able to function appropriately for literally all of your additional cellular functions and energy. Like I said, great for energy too. Between the ages of 40 to 50, research shows that we lose about 50% of that. And so there's other ways, I mean, on an oral side, but then again, we're looking at, okay, is your gut health good? You know, is there good permeability there? Or do we need to kind of replace that? So there's certain things that kind of are precursors to NAD too, to kind of help boost that up. We work with methylene blue too, which is a whole other topic. There's lots of topics that we could talk about to kind of help on that NAD side. And boost that up. But we utilize that a lot too for Parkinson's, for Alzheimer's. We do big bags of IV fluid for that too. It's usually a 2 to 3 hour long infusion to hit that hard because a lot of times as you age and then your body's bogged down with that. Same when you're looking at Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff, it just helps reboot that cellular function. So there's NAD injections, which is kind of a big one. Like I would say probably about a year ago, Hollywood was like huge on NAD. Like everybody's getting NAD infusions and injections and stuff. And I think it's a great option. But we're seeing really good results too when we're looking at more of those chronic things.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you had mentioned that you have a lot of cancer on both sides of your family.
Yeah. Yeah.
So share with us some of the things that you do for cancer patients.
Yeah, absolutely. So ozone therapy is one of them. So very short, I could probably sit and talk all day about ozone therapy. It truly is my favorite thing that we offer at Vivid. And so it's 3 atoms. So your first 2 atoms, your O2 is your oxygen. And so we're hyperoxygenating those red blood cells without going and getting you squeamish and talking about blood. You see the brightness of that blood once that oxygen binds to the red blood cells. And then that third atom is going to help in 3 components. It's going to help with inflammation, boosting your body's natural immune response. So it's not too much, not too little, kind of like the porridge, like it's not too hot, not too cold. It's just right. And then same with boosting your body's natural detox properties. So that's what everybody needs. But then I like to say too, it's non-discriminatory and very individualized again for the person sitting in the chair. So we could have a room full of individuals who have mold issues or have Lyme or it could just be a room full of athletes who want better recovery, and it's going to work exactly how that person's body needs it to work. And so we see, so everybody will not come up with, but will say different things like, oh, I slept so much better, I had so much energy, or now we're starting to see those like mold numbers come down. So it works in, so many different capacities for that. But when we're looking at cancer, we need that immune system up, and our body is just constantly decreasing and plummeting that immune system. And so it allows that immune system to go up. So whether somebody is going the conventional route, and let's say they're having chemotherapy, it pairs extremely well with ozone still too, or more so they're going the natural route and we're just focusing on ozone therapy. And then we also do high dose vitamin C too. And that is powerful. So vitamin C is in pretty much every single one of our IV infusions, but at a lower dose. And so that's your antioxidant support. Once we get up to a certain gram, or like a certain dosage of vitamin C, that's when it turns into this pro-oxidative state. And think of that of going and attacking. So it's going to go and attack viruses. It's going to go and attack cancer cells and different things such as that. We have a light therapy machine that also pairs with our ozone. And so as it goes through that, just think of that light just obliterating those cancer cells too. But same with toxins and heavy metals. I mean, anything with that as well. So I would say those are the two biggest things. We also have the hyperbaric oxygen chamber too, which is going to work very congruently with our ozone therapy. I joke all the time that I was like, we need like lunch boxes, because sometimes people are there for several hours doing all of these different therapies. But the hyperbaric chamber is another good one. And then we really, down the road, really want to bring on a lot more support for our cancer clients too, on a holistic side, just to be able, there's just not a lot around here. And so being able to support even more.
Well, especially finding out that Iowa's the second in the nation for cancer.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I was actually just talking with one of my nurses before I came over here, and I had seen a research article back from 2012, and it was of the United States, and Iowa was the worst for glyphosate. And so we are looking at glyphosate as kind of that pesticide, and that's a huge, huge component when we're looking at cancer too. And that was clear back in 2012. So I can't even imagine what it is today, but yes.
And the amount of young people
that
are experiencing, and it's not just breast cancer.
No.
Ovarian cancer, throat cancer.
Yeah.
Male having breast cancer.
Too.
I mean, it's.
Yes.
I see it all the time at John's daughter. It's devastating.
It's so devastating. Yeah. And unfortunately, you can only do so much. You can only eat as healthy as you can. You can only drink as much filtered water as you can. And unfortunately, there's other things that need to change out there and in the environment and stuff before we start to see a shift with that too. But that's where, like, a lot of times we see people or people, a lot of times they just think like, even just on an IV side, like, oh, when I get sick, then I'll come in. And so even focusing on that preventative side of things can certainly help when we are looking at cancer too. If you just think of like weeds growing everywhere, like we all have cancer cells that are growing within us, but if we can just tackle and knock those weeds down, whether it's on that vitamin C side or an ozone side, and just other things just to keep it at bay, to where it's just like, we know you're there, but we're just going to keep you down, that helps too.
So the ozone therapy, are you actually, I'll try to listen to this without getting squeamish. Are you actually pulling the blood out, it's getting treated, and then it goes back in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Recycling.
It's more like, it sounds like upcycling.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. So around 200 milliliters of blood just naturally gravitates into the bag. That's when we push the ozone into the bag, shake it up, and that's where you see it turn from that magenta. We see dark blood if we're really focusing on some more chronic and toxins and stuff. But you still see it very, very bright as that ozone binds to the red blood cells, and then we just infuse it back in. It's just about the same amount of time as a normal IV, maybe a little bit longer, but very simple.
Can we take a little bit of that and use it as a facial?
Yes. Yeah. Well,
Seriously.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that because it's actually going to be something that will be coming. So we're adding PRF here in a couple weeks. But then
let me know if you need a
yes, we will. Yes, you can absolutely come in and model. But then adding ozone in eventually too, which is it's very hard to find anybody who does that to then have somebody train you on it.
Yes.
But adding in the ozone just to help regenerate alongside of.
I love it. Well, I'm dual licensed. Let me know if you need me to come in.
Okay.
And, I can do some esthetician work.
Yes. Yes.
In my free time, Amanda. In my free time.
Yeah. You do that.
Say, we already talked about how busy.
But listen, that is an amazing service that you guys are going to offer because like you said, it's not something that's offered, especially with the ozone part of it.
Right.
Into the service. So kudos.
Yeah.
I love that.
So all these little things that.
Yes. Yeah. That make a difference.
Yeah.
That make a difference. That truly do, like you said, that preventative care.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Is something that we need to focus more on as Americans.
Yes. 100%.
Not waiting till you get sick.
Exactly.
So you have your location here, but you also have a location in Wisconsin.
Yep. So one of my best friends runs the Wisconsin location. So they are expanding and growing. They do pretty much about the same stuff that we do here too. So they also have a functional medicine provider. They have a hyperbaric chamber. They do ozone. Which is
do you guys
really cool.
Botox?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I couldn't remember if you did or not.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Injectables. We have like a facial machine too. Yeah. So I'm not the aesthetics person. I mean, I don't know anything like that.
But and also to be very clear, these services aren't just for women.
Oh gosh, no.
I mean, the men also benefit greatly from these type of services.
Yeah. What are some of the services that you have a lot of men come in for?
IVs for sure. We're starting to see more on a functional medicine side too. Ozone therapy, sauna, of course, that's a big one. And the cold plunge too, kind of that hot and cold, therapy aspect. I would say almost everything we see.
Yeah.
We're starting to see an upshift of men.
Well, and also again, just reading.
Yeah.
Because I love to deep dive into this stuff too. Again, with working at John's Daughter and Cancer. But men replacing the little blue pill.
Yes.
With more of these alternative services is increasing also.
Oh, absolutely.
And much more healthier.
Yes, absolutely. We've even had some clients too who were on testosterone injections. They did ozone and they've been able to come off of testosterone injections too, because it just helps. Again, detox, balance. That's a good hormone option too. So,
that's amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
Amazing.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
Can you explain? I've just got all these questions. Tell us the difference between your old school sauna with the coals,
Oh, yeah.
And the infrared, and the infrared sauna.
I do miss those though.
Tell us the difference.
Throw the water on it.
Yes.
Like how much more sweat can I get out?
Yes. So what's the difference between those two types of saunas?
Yeah.
The infrared sauna is a big.
Yes. Yeah.
Newer, better thing.
Both are great options. They're great options. Biggest difference is going to be that infrared. So we're looking at that EMF, that ELF, in terms of the energy. So EMF, I mean, you're getting from your cell phone, you're getting from all of that kind of stuff. So you want the low output of that. Infrared too, depending on which one that somebody might be looking for. A lot of it is going to have red light therapy within it too that you just can't get when you're looking at the coals. Yeah. Some specifically too, the one that we specifically have is a sunlighten one. That one can boost your core's temperature to a higher degree without you having to like crank up that heat. So you're not sitting there and sweating. Although I do love a good sweat session too. I love saunas like that. So you can do that. Or for people, because again, we work with a lot of chronically ill individuals and detoxing and that kind of stuff where you just can't sit in a hot sauna because you're going to feel miserable after that. And so they can sit at a normal temperature and still get those detox capabilities that they just would not be able to get if they were sitting in additional, like, in olden day.
Yeah, traditional.
Traditional. I'm like, what's the word? Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
A spa.
Yes.
Sauna.
A spa sauna.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Got it.
Exactly. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I would say that's probably the biggest, couple different biggest benefits.
Yes.
And
then it's cool because you have the color therapy too.
Yes. Yeah.
In the sauna.
Yes. So people can, and we have, when you're looking at chakras, when you're looking at meridians and all that different kind of stuff, we have a chart on there. So somebody can look at the different colors related to the different chakras. And then if they're wanting like more calming or more, just different things such as that, then they can, within that sauna, turn on that specific light therapy too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I need it all, Amanda.
I know. I do too. I do too.
I'll be the person that needs the box lunch.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll need the breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes. Exactly. Just count me in. I'm staying all day. That would be me too.
That's a great idea.
Travel in.
Yeah.
Do that. And eventually we'll have a bigger like wellness facility specific for that too, and different things that we'll add in. And
you schedule your appointment, you say what you want for lunch.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's kind of the thought we're going.
Make a whole retreat of it.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give? I think the frustrating thing is insurance doesn't cover a lot of this.
Absolutely.
So for a lot of people, it is out of pocket.
Yep.
Now, I mean, it's pretty obvious, like your health is important.
Sure.
But I know for some people that
it's hard.
have a hard hurdle of choosing.
Yep. Yeah.
Like where to start.
Yep. That's a great question.
Yeah.
Because we hear it all the time. And we very much too try and work with that individual as best as we can, especially like when we're looking at our cancer clients and stuff. I mean, they're in there probably twice a week. And so especially packaging different things. So we do try and pull down costs as much as we can specific for that. We do allow and accept HSA and FSA. So we have a lot of people utilize that, even just from a supplement side and a sauna side. I mean, you can use that for a lot. On our functional medicine side, on our lab service side too, we provide super bills. And so what a super bill is think of that as a receipt that has like your health codes, your ICD codes attached to it that you can then turn into insurance. We can't guarantee 100% reimbursement, but even if you can get, a good amount back, and it's so usually when we are kind of talking about that too, it's so hard, even for me, it's so hard to be able to like, gosh, I wish I had a crystal ball. Like, am I going to get sick in the future? And if I started preventative stuff now, it's going to prevent that down the road. But even just thinking of like, okay, even just an IV once a month, we're looking at, let's just say 129 or so a month. And then with those over time, like adding up, what if that could help prevent this drastic big hospital bill down the road? And so it's hard. It's kind of that catch-22 of it is. And I've looked at pulling insurance in multiple times and have talked to my staff about it too. And it's one of those things that unfortunately you are just like, it's that thumb that is just over top of you. We could not provide the care that we provide if we did insurance. Because I mean, our functional medicine consults are an hour to hour and a half, and you anywhere else, you're in and out the door in 15 minutes if you're lucky. If you actually get that amount of time. And so there's a lot of value that's behind that too. But it's hard. I mean, it's still, and I think down the road, we'll see that shift and that trend and everything start to go that way. And to be honest, there's a lot of other, what I'm in school for right now too, there's a lot of other things and tools that can be brought forward that do not cost an arm and a leg, that can truly give somebody's life back. And we just need to keep bringing that forward to be able to help provide for people too.
I wanted to ask you, Amanda, before I forgot, with services for cancer patients, do you guys do cold cap therapy?
No, we don't.
Okay.
No, but that's probably between that. There's a hot therapy too that we've been looking to, like a hyperthermia type of things. So lots of different things in terms of IVs, mistletoe.
Yeah, awesome. So the cold cap helping with stimulation of hair growth or hair, losing of hair. So we have a lot of our patients that ask about that.
Oh, sure.
Daughters. So I didn't know if that was something.
No, not yet.
Okay.
We will eventually though, while we'll do PRF in the scalp, that ozone will also very much help regenerate too.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah. Back to the money thing. I think it's important to think, do you want to pay for it now or later?
Right.
I think, when you get sick, then you're missing work. You're missing an opportunity to make money. And so I think we need to change how we look at investing in our health. So many people spend money on things that don't help them.
Right.
So just shifting that, and we don't have a crystal ball. We can't see, but to me, it's the best money you can invest.
Yeah.
And again, not to get political, but I think we're going to have to change as a country.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
For us to evolve.
100%.
I mean, as in other countries, holistic, it's just a part of their wellness.
Absolutely.
And it is working for them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we are going to have to change in that aspect and get under the thumb of Big Pharma.
Yes. Yep.
Get out of under the thumb, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I would just encourage people, you have to look at the long term.
Yeah.
Because people will even say, it's frustrating how expensive it is to buy healthy food.
Yeah.
Yes.
But to me, it's like an insurance policy.
Yeah.
Because you eventually have to spend money anyway if you get sick. So why not do the things that you can do now, eat healthy now, to save money.
Well, and even depending on somebody's insurance too, I mean, you might be shelling out a ton every month and then you still owe thousands and thousands and thousands if you get sick. And so, Yep. At the end of the day, we, this is totally side comment, but in relationship to insurance and stuff too, we're going to be bringing on iron infusions here in a couple of weeks. And when you look at insurance for some people, their out of pocket still is $2,000 to $4,000 per treatment. Wow. And ours is going to be like a fraction of that. So you just look at that too, and you can shift some of that as well.
But you guys offer cherry. Okay. Do you want to talk just maybe a little bit of that? People aren't familiar with that.
So if somebody's heard of like Care Credit or something, it's very similar to that too. It's basically financing over time. There's no like hard credit check or interest. If you choose like a longer term to pay over, then there's interest, but that really helps people too, especially when we're bundling a lot of things in, to be able to pay monthly for that. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you guys. This was fun.
Thank you. Well, good luck with your continuing your education too. That's very exciting.
Yes, and safe travels.
Yes, thank you. It'll be fun. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Yes,
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
See you later. Bye.
Your Sastastic Life is produced by Apex Creative. Go to apexcreative.vip. That's APEXX creative.vip.